We're live. What is up out there, YouTubers? Episode 51. 51 next week is 52. Next week's year. And we did make monetization last Thursday. I don't know if the super chats or the memberships are at the bottom yet or not. It's in process of being made. But we have down here, that way, got John from Snake Limited. What was your old what was your old company called?
Blind Strike Exotics.
Blind Strikes. That's it. I couldn't think of it. Something Strikes. But from formerly of Blind Strikes, we got John. And this is episode 51. We'll be right back after this. So I'm popping on a cigar here.
Thanks.
Got a stogie. My friend Tony runs your cigar den up out of State College, Pennsylvania. If you're ever up at State College and you want to try a cigar, stop by. He gave me one to smoke on the live, so I'm going to say his name.
Well, why don't you send me one, friend?
I'll get you one.
Thank you, sir.
What kind you like?
That.
What kind you like? Because there's like 80 million kinds.
Hey, I'm not choosy.
So this one here
Surprise me.
This one's kind of got like a sweet vanilla taste to it. It's kind of interesting because I kind of like the sweeter tasting ones. I don't like the real robust ones that make you want to go, oh!
I'll take a honey or a vanilla at work, my friend. Thank you.
They got honey ones too. They're good too. What's up, anything?
Thank you for joining us tonight, John.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on.
Yes.
Wiz just made monetization too.
Yes,
so
sir.
shout out to Wiz. That's what's up. And we got
awesome.
this man, Zombie. What's up, dude?
What up,
Does he
brother
eat brains?
Do you eat brains? No, he's pretty civilized. He's an alright person.
Dope logo, Vance. Dope logo.
What's up, Rob?
It's good,
Another
Rob.
PA guy here, right there. Brave Adventure. Thank you for coming out. You're always in here, always supporting. What up, Bill? Victory Lane. Thanks for coming out. Straight Blast. What up, dude?
Straight blast.
Carissa, how's it going? You
Hey,
rock.
Carissa.
Thanks for coming.
Where's them bags at, Carissa? Where's my bags at, Carissa?
Ewok. Tommy. What's up, dude?
good,
He was
brother?
my guest last week. Serpent Labs.
Serpent
What's up?
bags.
What's up,
Good.
Rory?
I'm gonna say that might be someone you know because I haven't seen him in before, but thanks for stopping in.
He's in my Patreon.
Heck
Nice.
yeah.
Multiple time customer.
What up, Lakers?
Lakers. What's good, brother?
There's Will. Another former
Will.
guest. What's up, Will? Irresistibles. Nikki.
What's
What's
up,
going on?
Nikki?
Nicky. Hi, Mitzi.
Mitzi.
Thanks for coming in. All right, now we're caught up. So what's up, John? How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. Just living the life.
All right.
And cleaning snake crap one tub at a time.
One tub at a time. So, like, you was on Keys last week, and, like, you know, that's the difficult thing about podcasting is we try to schedule it in advance. And sometimes, you know, it just ends up to where it happens to where you got someone that's on this show last week and this show this week. So I watched that show. So we're going to try to touch on something a little different. But before we get into that, why don't you show those beautiful black xanthics you had? Because I wanted to see them things again.
Man, I was really hoping that they would have shed by today, but they're so deep in shed right now.
I figured.
That you will not see the colors. Now I have the other one from the other clutch that I can show you, but these guys are they look like zombies. So I can show you how deep in shed they are. I mean, their eyes are
Yeah, you could see them. They're deep.
Let me
They
get you.
kind of look a little like Vance too.
Yeah, it kind of look like zombies.
I can get you. Let's get this girl.
Get it,
out.
Will. Get it, Will. Bacon and snake, and that's what's up. Get it, Will.
So this girl is the black-headed leopard Mojave black
Wow, that's
axanthic.
nice.
It's so
That
black.
I hatched her at the end of the last fall.
What line of axanthic you work, John?
This is black axanthic.
Black axanthic. Okay.
Yeah, I
Is
also
that the
work
only line you
MJ.
work, or do you work BPI, MJ?
Nope, just I do MJ in my clown pied stuff and
Okay.
black axanthic here, which is actually in the hypopide project. So
Right.
this is I got the sire from her, and let me get out another guy here. I don't think I showed this one last week, so this will be exclusive for you guys. So I got
Hey,
this
Joyce.
male.
Thanks for coming
Hey,
in.
Joyce. Thanks for joining us.
This is a blackhead leopard Mojave hypopide or posset black axanthic.
Hey, Lexi.
So I got a triple het hypopide black axanthic, blackhead leopard Mojave from Canova 2 years ago, breeder male. And he was bred to a hypopide to make this male here. Actually hatched 2 of these males last year.
Now, am I just seeing things, or is that head gray?
So it's hypopide, but it's blackhead leopard Mojave. So it makes the head like this crazy purple gray color.
Okay. Because it almost looks like the color of the tubs behind you. To be honest with you.
Yeah, you can see it there on that saddle in the back. They're very high white.
That's nice.
I'd like to get that in low white.
I know. I was thinking maybe trying to work inchy into it or something, but I don't know how much they would actually change the pattern. But I mean, it's probably one of the coolest snakes that I've hatched. But they're just like straight. It's like a grayish purple color, and the nose is sort of turning colors there. It's like a little darker in the front. But I hatched out 2 of these guys, so I have 2 males that I'm holding back because I can't test for black axanthic yet.
Right.
Once I can, I'll figure that out. But this girl here, she's blackhead leopard Mojave black axanthic and double posset hypopide. I haven't tested her yet, but obviously I can and will. But she took a while to grow up. But yeah, I mean, this project, I didn't expect it to be one of my one of the projects that I've kind of loved more over the past couple of years, but I actually have. What I've been hatching out from it's kind of just been crazy, and I'm kind of moving it up my ranks in terms of what I'm actually going to start breeding more of.
Right. If I was looking gray at snakes, it would definitely come up in my agenda. Gray snakes are cool.
I mean, yeah, and we so after hatching like these 2 males out this past year, I actually bought quite a few hypopide project girls from Chimera last year that'll be ready to breed this year that I'm hoping to kind of fit in here. Has there been a black X clown? I actually don't know if there's been a black X clown.
One.
I saw a black axe pied, which looked really cool. I don't know if I've seen a clown yet, and that's kind of where I'm going to probably take this next. The problem is I have 1 black axe male that I produced this season that I'm probably going to end up holding back for situations like that instead of trying to breed the dad who's only a het black axanthic.
Right.
But yeah, it's an awesome project. These snakes just really are some of the coolest ones I've made. Especially this hypopide stuff. These aren't even visual black axanthic. So once I can produce some triple visuals with this, and actually let me show you a clutch mate of his who's not in hypo.
But you were saying about adding pattern, and she does. We all know that pretty much. But Ozzy was saying Hurricane adds a lot of pattern to pides.
Yeah.
So that might be another way to go.
So this is this guy's sister, and I don't know if she's blackhead leopard Mojave or just leopard blackhead. But I mean that's what she looks like without the hypo.
Yeah, it's like a dark brown with black around it.
Yeah, it's kind of black in
Like
the
a
middle and a
walnut.
little bit brown on the outside. But she has that just crazy dark black head as well.
Nice.
Jeez.
What are y'all talking about?
That
So,
thing's
yeah, it's exciting
crazy
project.
looking.
Just crazy looking snakes.
Oh yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, hold back, Kevin.
Right. All right. So I kind of wanted to touch about like, the business side of thing, so kind of explain what do you think the importance of getting your LLC is and kind of recognizing yourself as a company. But before that, we are at 20, so I got to do a truffle shuffle. So sorry, but you got to see this.
Is it over yet?
All right, thank you. We reached our 20.
Is it over?
Yeah, it's over. We do that when we get to 20. I try to apologize in advance, but we have people loving it and we have people hating it. So, when you have that right mix of love and hate, you're doing something right.
Hit it right in the middle.
Right? So LLC, like what is the importance of really getting your LLC nowadays over just,
I'm kind of on the fence about it. I mean, if you're going to be a legitimate business, you have to. That also protects you as well. If somebody wants to sue you, they can't sue Ken or they can't sue Stan or they can't sue John. They have to sue your company. Not that you ever really are going to see somebody suing you over snakes, but people sue about anything nowadays.
right?
I mean, that's probably, in my book, probably the biggest reason to do it.
What's up, Steve?
But, yeah, I mean, if you're making a legit business out of this, you need to, especially for tax purposes, tax write-offs, right? These racks. Every time you buy a rack, that's a write-off. At the end of the year last year, I didn't have a lot of deductions, so I decided to go out and buy $1,000. I stocked up on rodent food, and then I spent another $1,000 and stocked up on frozen thawed stuff. So I mean, that stuff gets written off, and so instead of you just claiming $30,000 in extra income, that knocks it down to 20 or 15,000 or 10,000, depending on how much you spent that year. So there's tax implications, but there's also the ability to kind of protect yourself as a company, not getting sued directly as a individual if it ever came to that.
But along the way, somewhere, on the Let Me Know show, someone said you could actually count your holdbacks. Say if you make a $15,000 snake and hold it back, you could actually count that as stock and use it as like a kind of a write-off as well.
I don't know. So my dad's a CPA, and I had this conversation with him multiple times, and he kept assuring me over and over and over again that you can't. Basically, when you have snakes, they're inventory. So if I go spend $10,000 on snakes, they're inventory, and that does not. You can't write those off until you sell them. And then if there's, if I paid 10 grand for it, and I end up selling it for $5,000, then I have a $5,000 loss on that. But until that happens, and even with the holdbacks, those are pure profit. So that's what he's told me. He's been doing this long enough. Not that he's ever worked with people with livestock necessarily.
All right.
So I don't know. He could be missing something there. I don't know, but that's just what he's told me. And believe me, I've asked him plenty of times, like, "Are you sure there's no way to deduct this?" Because if I made 30 grand, I don't have any money to show for it because I spent it all.
Right.
It's all in these racks. I have nothing, and I don't plan on selling half of those snakes either. He said it doesn't matter. He said it's inventory. There's maybe some depreciation you can try to write off, but it's like if you own a retail store, and you have a bunch of products sitting on the shelves. Those aren't really write-offs; it's just inventory.
Right.
So, yeah.
So talk about the process of doing shows. Like when you first start out, where did you find the people to talk to that run the venues? Like, how do you get in touch with that circle of people?
I've never done a show.
Never done a show.
Nope. I have
I thought you did.
sold everything.
I thought I'd seen you down the Monroeville Expo one time.
Nope.
Maybe I just seen you as a person.
Yeah, well, that one, the mega reptile, I was there. I think I went there once, maybe just as a visitor.
Right.
But yeah, I've never vended a show. I've sold exclusively through Morph Market so far.
I mean, I would say if you've never been to the show and you're wanting to do that show, just go to the show before you plan on going. It's not hard. I mean, all you got to do is say, "Hey, who runs the venue?"
Right. Go to that show.
Guy over there, Tommy,
Yeah.
right there. Go see him. I mean, it's usually that easy.
Right.
I know who runs the Daytona show. Wayne runs the Daytona show. And there's a couple like smaller shows that are pretty easy to get into if you wanted to here. But and again, it just depends on where you're at and where you're going. So if you're going out of state to a different state, then you got to make sure you got to check all the local laws there. Do I have to have the temporary license there? And you got to bring yours, obviously. And do I have to have, vet records to bring with me? Some shows ask for more than others. So it's pretty simple to really, I feel, to I don't want to say to get into the venue, but to find out who runs the venue. It's just a matter of asking a couple people there, and they'll be like, they're going to point you in the right direction.
Right.
Yeah, I would assume through most from the local ones that there's 3, or there used to be 3. The one's not kind of defunct now, but on their their Facebook pages or whoever posts, or even on the website, most of those websites or the Facebook pages have the contact info for the person who runs the shows. So, and I actually had the Pittsburgh Mega Reptile Expo. They contacted me a few times to see if I wanted to vend. I don't know if they saw me like on the local forums, the Pittsburgh forums or whatever. They actually asked me directly. I was like, I don't have any snakes to sell, unfortunately. But so yeah, I mean, you could. It's probably very easy to find that contact info for any of those. Just go to the source.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I always thought you vended like you always set the precedence, like like you vent shows, you do this, you do that. You just present like yourself. You know what you're doing, and you're in this game, and you're a real player. Like I've watched you for probably about a year now, and you just always seem on your game. So you always set the impression to me that you did shows. I'm kind of like, wow, to find that out that you don't.
I never, to be honest. I started selling in 20. I started breeding in 19. Started selling in 20. And I always said to myself, I don't want to vend shows if I don't have to.
Right.
I never wanted to if I go to a show, I want to enjoy it. I want to visit it. I want to, talk to people. I don't want to have to worry about vending. I don't want to transfer animals back and forth. I don't want to have to worry about their health. I don't want to have to worry about having a whole quarantine area. I don't want to do any of that stuff. It was easier for me, in 20, in 21, in 22, just to sell through Morph Market. And that's, I have no inventory left from last year. I sold it all on Morph Market. So my whole thing was, if everybody in the United States is a customer, I'm going to spend my time advertising to those people by making sure that my social media stuff is consistent, rather than worrying about that one time a month or 2 times a month that they have shows locally, or Tinley, how many times a year, and having to travel to that and make travel plans. So I've spent most of my time trying to make sure that I'm doing social media and keeping up to date on that.
Yeah, it's much easier just to
Yeah, this is Florida, so we're one a weekend somewhere here in Florida.
Yeah, to not have to set up, just keep your animals in their drawers. I mean, that's a long process, and then you're paying for a table, paying for gas, paying for, everything to get there. You got to eat while you're there. So there's extra money. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot that goes into the show, and if you're doing well right now, like in today's market, you're doing something right. I mean, that's for sure, because you got all
Yeah,
kinds of people saying that they ain't selling snakes, but people are.
I didn't have any trouble last year. I mean, they weren't selling for what I expected them to. I mean, the way I was projecting last year to go, even with factoring in the depreciation of the
Right.
morph values. I mean, I thought I'd be making money hand over fist, and the way that everything crashed down over
Quickly.
the last year or so. I mean, I was. I mean, I did okay last year, but
I got my first
um,
super chat. Woohoo! Thank you, Derek. What's up? Or super sticker. That's a sticker. I got my first sticker. I got a sticker,
Nice.
guys.
what is a sticker?
I don't know, $2.99 super sticker. It
Nice.
comes up highlighted and like, so you can leave it up
Okay.
there. It kind of says, "Hey, look at me," more or less.
That's awesome.
It highlights our comments.
Gotcha.
And thanks for coming in, Derek, and thanks for the super chat, super sticker, whatever it's called. You're that's the first one. So hell yeah. Where's we at? Got me all excited. Now I don't even know where I'm at. I never
I
been so
forgot.
excited about $3 in my life.
Well, now that you're monetized, you should be making $3 more than $3 every month from this. So
Well, I mean, I made like 50 cents in the first 3 days, but it was like the first day I made like 2 cents. Then the next day I made like a little bit more, and the third day I made like a little bit more. So it keeps going up, and I'm like, whoa, all right, let's push this. Let's see what we could do.
but yeah, and the more videos you have, uh, it kind of compiles on itself, right? So
Right.
if you have 100 videos and then you have 200 and 300 and 400, that's that much more content that people are going to go back to and watch. So it just kind of builds upon itself.
Right. That's cool. Like you kind of did what I'm trying to accomplish, and that's just like I'm not thrilled about starting shows because I see people out there. I see the struggle. I know a lot of people who do it, and I'm just like, boy, if I could just sell my animals here, that would be like really cool. I mean,
Yeah,
you
I
don't
mean,
have to leave. You don't have to pack up. You don't have that money. You don't have that expense. It's just like you can put more time in with your animals.
yeah, and there's definitely work and strategy that goes into it, but it's not. Like I look at it like if somebody inquires about a snake on Morph Market, um, the way I look at it is I try not to let them go, right? Like I try to make the sale to that person, and unless they're trying to get the snake for 80% of the value, if it's a
Right.
$500 snake, they're trying to get it for $100. But I try to look. I don't know the next time somebody else is going to
Inquire
inquire
about
on the snake, and so I try to look at every different thing. Like I got to make this sale. That's the way I look at it, and I try to be reasonable with people, and I try to talk things out with people through the messaging, and
No.
more times than not, we get it figured out.
it. You know who that is back there? That's your boy Steve. I even got the general jersey on. Part of the army now over here. That's just our reptile buddy Nick. We do a Thursday show, the RWO show, and he comes on every once in a while. He's a rowdy guy. But with today's market, how it is, like you kind of just said, like you have to come off your prices a little bit, and I think a few people have issues like coming off that, like they're not realizing that 1,500, $2,000 snake is now five, maybe even $300. They're not drawing what they did a year and a half ago, and a lot of people's not seeing that. What's up,
Yeah, man.
update?
I'm a podcast whore this week.
Right.
What's good, bro?
What are you doing?
They got $2 more.
Oh, I did. Look at that. We're up to $5.99 tonight. Holy crap.
That's a
That's
good
funny.
night.
It is a good
Happy
night.
hour right there.
I got $5.99 so far.
You know, Ken's over there like we's moving on up, moving on up.
I feel like the Jeffersons right now. Holy shit.
Come on.
Come on.
That's awesome.
So you mentioned-
people
Go ahead.
need to move off their price. I've spoken to a lot of people, or inquired about snakes myself, and I do not inquire on a snake unless I know what the current value of it is.
Right.
And whether or not that guy's snake is on point or too much. I know what it's worth because I check out everything else that's sold recently or something that's comparable to it.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I've come across quite a few people that are like, nah, I can't do that. I'm like, well, buddy, your snake's not even listed at market value right now. It's way overpriced. People, they don't, you can't make people sell you a snake, unfortunately, even if you're trying to give them money. But yeah, I mean, I'm realistic with pricing. I know I usually, like, let's take last year, for example. I mean, I think I produced, I don't know, maybe 100 babies, and I think I kept probably half of them. But out of the other 50 that I made, I'd say 10 to 15 of them were more on the rare side or unique. So
Right.
those ones I'm not willing to, deviate too much from what I think the value is. But the other ones, if there's 10, 20, 30, 100 of them, yeah, I mean, if you're inquiring about that snake and I have it listed at market value, I'm going to play ball with you.
What's up, guys?
Hi.
What's up, guys?
How
How
y'all
are you doing tonight?
Good. How
You
are
wake
guys
up
doing?
from your grandpa nap?
Of course, I woke up my grandpa.
Should have figured.
Over there taking care of them double hats. That's what he is. He had to make sure the double hats were well put
Alex
away.
got home from work and woke him up. That's what happened.
No, we're actually
Oh.
finishing snake cleaning bins and then trying to finish dinner and everything else.
Yeah,
So trying to get
We've been
everything
cleaning
organized.
bins for a while.
Yeah,
Well,
we know the
we-
struggle was real with you. You got to pass.
We eat anything good?
We love you, buddy.
Right. How's it going, John? How about you?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Pretty
Good.
good, pretty good, pretty good. You showing some heat off tonight? What you got over there? I know you got some fire over there.
I did. You could. I don't know if I want to. Do you want me to show it again, Ken? Or you want me to show
Go
something
ahead.
else?
Go away.
Break it
I mean,
out,
because them
break it
things
out,
are worthy
break it
for
out.
sure. They are
Enjoy
worthy.
the late people.
Let's see.
And
Just
if
in case,
anything
you know,
else
people
cool,
wanna
show
catch
off
it on
anything else cool
replay.
you got too.
If it's something you
I'll
haven't
show you
shown
something
yet,
else
show
for
something
it.
you haven't shown yet, John. If it's something you haven't shown yet, show something you haven't shown yet.
And so I pulled a bunch of I got a bunch of DG Clown stuff from
Oh, hell yeah.
Chimera last
Ooh.
year. So this is a pastel Enchi DG Clown female.
Ooh, she
It's
looks
a building
Yeah.
block for
sweet.
sure.
Yeah,
I
that's
got
gorgeous.
2 of those from Chimera, but so I got this guy from Canova to breed to them. So he's a let's see, ODYV, pinstripe leopard, confusion, double het, DG Clown, possible fire.
Oh, hell yeah.
Man,
So-
look at that thing.
And this is only a double het. He's not even a visual. So I'm excited about this guy breeding to DG Clown stuff this year. Basically, my plan is whatever I can get this guy into, I'm going to get him into this season. Absolutely crazy animal, tons of power, especially with confusion in there. But
That's like
I'd love to
confusion in
get this
there, yeah. With the
DG
confusion in
Clown
there,
version.
yeah.
That
that's sick.
snake will make pinstripe popular again.
Yeah. It's just the way I mean, it's really all of the genes that kind of do this, but
Mhm.
the colors on him are just crazy. It's like very coppery.
Wow, yeah, he is.
Yeah, it's like an orange almost. Copper orange, terracotta maybe.
Yeah, it's like a burnt
Yeah.
orange.
Yeah, that's sick.
But so this is the second snake. So actually, that I bought from Canova that's only hets, right? And those other snakes I
That's not hard to
produced,
do.
those black-head leopard Mojave hypopies that are black exanthic, like, don't be afraid to buy double hets because, if I'm breeding this double het to, that girl down here, and she's a double visual DG clown,
That's the way to roll.
there's a decent chance that I'm making some DG clowns. This guy has 5 or 6 genes. That female has 2. It's very, very slim, but I could be making 8 gene DG clowns, right?
Right.
You said pinstripe confusion. It looks just like pinstripe hurricane. This is from Canova, so I'm hoping that he ID'd it correctly. So it's confusion pinstripe ODYB leopard. Yeah, Leo. Possible fire.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
So I did not ID this myself. This is what I bought it as from Canova, so I'm hoping it's ID'd properly
Right.
because it wasn't cheap.
I got a couple of those snakes that I don't think are ID'd properly because I made a couple snakes that just don't look like they should.
Yeah, I bought a couple snakes a couple years ago from Aussie, and they turned out to be ID'd incorrectly, but I got more genes out of it, so it's not like it was a bad thing.
Right.
But it's when believe me, the snakes I made last year. Let me get the mail out, and I'll show you why.
I like pinstripe clown stuff. There's a couple pinstripe clowns that just look amazing and put DG in on it with other stuff.
Yeah, I love pinstripe clowns.
Yeah.
So I got this guy from Aussie 2 years ago.
What's up, Eric?
Well, these colors aren't even coming out. But so he was sold to me as an OD leopard, firefly ultramale het pied, right? I think he also has yellow belly, and he might potentially have Enchi as well, because a lot of the pieds that I was making from him were absolutely crazy looking. So, like, I wasn't upset that this guy had a few extra genes in him.
Wow.
But I usually always tend to. Well, it's not. You can't even see his colors at all. Like, there we go.
There you go. Yeah, that's sick. Yeah.
That's ultra. So I never shy away from buying from bigger breeders, and I don't get upset if the IDs aren't 100% correct, because you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. Some of them are going to be accurate, but when you start producing these snakes that have 4, 5, 6 codoms, and there haven't been that many made, it's extremely hard to ID them. And if I'm buying snakes from Aussie and he's getting them wrong, then I'm okay with getting some IDs wrong as well.
Right.
So, it's just people need to ease up a little bit on being pissy about people with their IDs.
There's going to be extra genes in mostly everything you buy from me, and I'll tell you that.
Yep.
But,
What's that?
I said there's going to be extra genes in everything you buy from me, and I will let you know that. But
Well,
go ahead and answer that question. Where are you located?
Now, I'm in Pittsburgh, right outside of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
I every time I list something and I don't know exactly what it is, I say pos, pos this, pos that, because I don't know. I'm making snakes that are 4 or 5 gene pieds that are
Right.
Medium high white, and it's to me almost impossible to sometimes ID them.
Facts.
What's up, Prono? Yeah, that's why I'm moving on to a lot of pieds because, well, especially in double and triple recessives, because when you're stacking 2 or 3 codoms and these doubles and triple recessives, that's where the money's at. You got money in them. And in these pieds, you can't tell what's in it. So how are you going to sell it? And I was taught if you're not 100% sure that gene's in there, you don't include it. So you got to call it a pied.
I think that's why when I make a listing on Morph Market, it says, this is what the pairing was. And
They're nice.
this is what genes I know are there, and these are the genes that I think it's possible for,
Right.
because I look at Morph Market sometimes. That every time I list a new clutch, I go through Morph Market, I type in what the pairing was, and I look through. I spend hours going through trying to figure out, okay, what the hell is this snake that I just bought? And I can tell you, just from me looking through there, that at least half of the snakes on there are ID wrong.
Yep.
So if you type in Mojave Enchi, I can almost guarantee you probably half of them are ID wrong, even though it's a 2-gene snake. And so you don't know when you're looking at listings on there which ones are accurate and which ones aren't, because there's a lot of people that don't put effort into doing the listings, and then it just leads to more people putting bad information up on there.
Right. What's up, Cat?
It's good, Richie.
Yeah,
Got the extra audio
it's
playing
hard.
over there.
I am guilty of that myself. Before I had my first clutches, I was really hard on people on IDing, and till I started hatching out clutches, then I'm like, I have no clue what this is. I have 2 snakes back there right now that I can't even tell if one's a clown or if it's a het clown. Like, its body looks like clown all day, but you look at one side of its head and you're saying there's no way it's clown. The other side kind of looks like maybe it could be clown, but like it's just so weird. It's an oddball one. I don't know what it is.
I need to reach out to the customer that bought them. But so that male that I just showed, that ultra male het pied, I bred him to a pastel pied female, and
Right.
I kept like half the clutch because I didn't know what was going on in it, and I hit a lot of pieds in it. But I got a snake that was an ivory, and
The yellow belly has to be.
neither parent was listed as yellow belly when I bought them, right? But so I send in for shed testing, and this thing only comes back as being yellow belly.
Oh wow!
And it didn't have any other gene from the yellow belly complex. So then I send it into RGI to do a full panel, and it still only tests positive for yellow belly. But this snake is all white. It had a little bit of black pattern right here on the head, and maybe a little bit on the back. Looked identical to an ivory. And I still swear to God to this day that it was an ivory. So I don't know where that came from. But both of those parents were sold to me as not having yellow belly. And that's when I reached back out to Ozzy. I said, Ozzy, what was the pairing for this snake? And he goes, here's the pairing. He said, now that I'm looking at it again, I think that it's probably Enchi as well. I said, well, it's probably yellow belly as well. So I got 2 extra genes out of this snake. But so, I mean, I produced a white snake out of a pairing that didn't have yellow belly in it. And then all of a sudden, yellow belly pops up out of nowhere.
Wow.
That's pretty wicked.
So is it testing like as a super yellow belly or just as yellow belly? Because you said it's testing yellow belly. Is it testing as super?
So when you test, so I sent it into Charlie at Gray Rider first, and when you test
Shout out
a
to Charlie.
gene, it also tests it for the super form. And so he only came back as yellow belly. I said, sure. And he's like, and I showed him a picture of the snake. He's like, holy shit. He's like, let me test it again. And he ran it again. He's like, it's still coming back as yellow belly and not super. And that's when I sent it in RGI to do a full panel, because I think at that time they also had Asphalt, Inspector, and Spark.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see if it was maybe something else in that complex that Charlie
Right.
couldn't test for. And they all came back negative too. And it still only came back as a single yellow belly. So I don't know. And I want to contact the customer to see if he can send me an updated photo, because I
Right.
want to see what it looks like now,
Facts.
to see if like colors change or anything. But if it's still white, I'm like, it has to be. Like maybe
Yeah.
there's some other line of yellow belly that's like just not, they can't test for it and it's not showing up. That's what I would guess.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah, there's
You got
something
that
that's in it.
special line, John. You got that special line of yellow belly. I'm telling you, you might want to hold on to it. You never know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got the male, and probably I think I kept half that clutch because I got a lot of crazy looking female pieds out of it, which are all going to be het ultramel. And a couple female. Let me show you this girl.
I was going to say, well,
came
show
out
them
in
off.
March.
Don't talk about it. Show them.
Show them out. Let's see.
Get them out. Get them out.
And see, this girl, I love her. She's moody as hell. So this came from him. She was born in March last year. She got
Nice.
the craziest head pattern there. So I think she's super OD. And she Leo Fire.
So it looks like OD Fire for sure. I was gonna say I have an OD Fire that looks damn near close to that. So
Yeah. And she's had Ultramel too. But I show her off because
I like the stitching.
like she has a beautiful body shape and stuff, and she's almost 1,000 grams. Or she's over 1,000 grams. She's not even a year old yet.
Heck
Absolute pig. Just crushes
right.
food. And she's had Ultramel as well. So I'm going to have a bunch of crazy looking. Let's go through. I'll show you some of the other stuff that male produced, because I have a lot of crazy Ultramel stuff that I produced from him.
I got she's a little over 2 years old, female gravel. She's like 3,000 grams. She's huge. I'm thinking she might have the Volta gene in her. She's just big. Her head's just bigger.
Never know. So that male produced this. No, this girl's she's not feed as well. I'm still not even 100% sure what she is. Obviously, she's a visual Ultramel. She's het pied.
What's up, Wallace family?
Something crazy. She's beautiful. Love her.
Yeah, that's gorgeous. I like that a lot. Even the pattern on that, everything's sick about that. That's gorgeous.
She's got a crazy head stamp too.
Yeah, that is nice.
That's wicked for just Ultramel het pied.
I do like Ultramel.
Yeah. She's got it. People aren't doing a lot with it. I feel like it's kind of getting shit on because people are starting to move to Monarch a little bit. But then I always go back to I produced this girl 2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Well, I think she came from the Volta region then, Eric. You knew what I meant.
This girl's just a bamboo pin.
No, they got it right. Shipping address is there.
Bamboo pin? That's just a bamboo pin?
Yeah. Ultramel.
Okay, Ultramel too.
No, but
okay.
look.
That's sick, though.
What if I just pick it up at the locker?
There you go. There you go. Hell yeah, John. That's sick as fuck.
I don't know.
Look how big she is.
She's a full-grown adult. I mean, she's over 2,000 grams, and that's the color she kept just from 2 genes and Ultramel.
Nice.
That's crazy. That's crazy how it gave that white all along the dorsal.
Yeah.
Looks like reverse calico.
That's
sick. Almost.
That's actually sick.
So yeah, I mean, Ultramel's I love it. It's one of those projects I love. I wish people worked on it more, but I'm sure. Hopefully, I'm producing stuff that people are start giving it a little more respect.
Right.
The respect it deserves.
And them Ultramel pies are sick. Was it Brocco Morphinary has some Ultramel pies, and those things are clean. So at the end of the day, I don't hate on Ultramel. I have both. I like Monarch and Ultramel, but at the end of the day, they're both they're in their two own categories, in my opinion. A lot of people want to blend them together. I'm like, wait a minute, Monarch's a little bit darker and deeper, Ultramel's a little bit lighter and brighter, so I don't know. I like them both.
Everything has its place, right? You mix the right genes into it and you unlock it. I love. Yes, absolutely. I was looking at oh shit. I lost my train of thought. Who we were talking about?
Ultramel?
Genes.
Ultramel,
Monarch.
I have a black pastel
I'm
bamboo.
glad I'm not the
Ultramel.
only one that does it. Thank God I'm not the only one that does it.
No,
Right,
I know.
makes me feel
It's
better.
late. It's
What
late.
up,
It's
Cole?
late for me. I go to bed at 9 o'clock usually.
Right.
It's a late night.
When you get in your late 30s, early 40s, your brain develops this reset button that in the middle of a conversation, you just reset. And
My 5-year-old, she is basically, she never sleeps. She goes to bed late and wakes up early, so we never get sleep, and it's all day 24/7. She's just like blah, 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 blah. So we're we never get sleep anymore. I'm almost 40 years old. I can't do that, honey. I need some sleep.
you got a couple more years left of that. I have 3 girls, and my youngest is 14. And around 10, they start getting to like, okay, I don't really like dad. I like boys. You know what I mean? They start going to the boys thing.
Yeah.
It crushed me, like, dude. It sucked because my daughter, like my youngest, she was my baby. You know what I mean? She's my left hip, and then 10 years old, boom, it like broke my heart. What up, Dan?
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in.
Mine's more like what 12 going on 30 is what it is.
Yeah, they go 12 to 30 real quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
driving
Yeah, we
down
have
the
one of
road,
those.
he's trying to tell me how to drive. I'm like, wait, aren't you in the back seat? Like, what are you doing back there? Tell me how to drive.
Yeah. We have a 14-year-old that actually she's 30 years old too. They grow up too fast.
That's the best way I can put it. 12 going on 30 is the easiest way.
Absolutely.
All adult conversation, and everything. I'm like, go play with Legos. Get out of
What's
here.
up, Barnes family? And it comes out of nowhere. It's just like one day she woke up boy crazy. I just, it just, I don't know. It sucks. It's hard to be a parent when they go through that age.
Mm-hmm. And then there's no
Yeah,
turning
absolutely.
back from there.
All you can do is teach them right. That's all you can
Right?
do.
Well, if they want to listen, because sometimes they just don't listen. So we like to ask some fun questions around here just to keep it light. If you could have a superpower, what would it be?
I guess invulnerability.
So break that down a little bit for me.
Can't kill me.
Oh, all right.
Can't beat me up.
Deadpool.
Can't kill me.
Brian?
Yeah.
So you want to live forever, basically?
Ryan
So, like,
and Sydney.
be like Superman, basically. Well, what's not to like about that?
Right.
I mean, you would have to watch your children get old and die, you know, everyone around you. I mean, you would have to pretty much protect yourself from like any kind of relationship because that person's going to, you know, eventually get old. You're going to have to watch them die over and over again.
It's not necessarily being immortal, right? It's not living forever necessarily. It's just not being able to be killed. I wonder if he's still aged.
Yeah, well,
you're
that's
still
what I'm
aging
saying.
at
Like,
a proper rate. You're just not able to get killed.
I mean, my answer is always like, I want to be invisible because then I could just turn invisible and go take whatever I want, and they can't prove it. Nobody saw me do it. You can't prove anything.
Yeah, you want to creep around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
I don't want to be
Yeah,
a
creeper.
neighborhood
You
creeper.
wanna be a fucking
I would
creeper,
be
right?
doing better things than that. I mean, maybe Hollywood, like all the rich, like women, you know, selling their pictures because you can get money for that.
He's got an invisible camera underneath the cloak, you know.
Yeah. I only pull it out so they see a floating camera taking their picture and they get freaked out and I get the good shot.
What are you
You're
pulling
like the
out?
best paparazzi. You're like the
A
best
camera.
paparazzi.
That's it. Just
the
a
camera.
camera.
It's the,
Like, you know,
Sure.
or a phone or, you know, a picture taking device is all
just
I'm
don't
coming in.
walk up on them with the trench coat on, Ken. No trench
Well, I'm
coat.
invisible. They can't see a trench coat.
Oh, okay.
That's true.
Don't
Well-
bump into nobody.
Well,
Don't bump into
all
nobody.
they would see would be the trench coat. I don't know.
Right.
Okay, it depends. But
Yeah, they'd see the trench coat. They just wouldn't see what was underneath.
Well, all right, let me make this easy for you. Okay, I get a cloak that goes over top of me, and if anything's inside this cloak, it's also invisible. So
There
if
you
I
go.
just, you know, like the cloak of invisibility on Harry Potter,
Yeah.
Like- so something like that. So I could pull things into the cloak and it disappears.
Right, as long as it's under it. Yeah. I feel that. I feel that.
Don't be pulling it out for the camera.
So, John,
Sometimes they
if you
want
had
you
a
to pull it out for the
superpower,
camera.
what would it be, John?
We just asked that, Stan. What
Oh,
we was
I
talking
didn't
about.
He fell asleep.
Did you
Did
hit
I?
the reset button?
No, I have a conversation going on over here on my phone at the same time. My bad.
It's all good. All good, buddy. So if you hit like the Powerball for hundreds and millions of dollars, like how far are you taking the reptiles? Are you just getting out because you're rich already, or are you standing and doing
Fine.
it?
I'd be done doing everything. I wouldn't be doing anything anymore.
You just got the money, or you don't need it?
I'd take care of myself. I'd take care of the family. I'd retire somewhere that's not Pittsburgh,
It's not
and
Pittsburgh.
yeah, I'd be done. I'd be, it's funny you say that, but then I would probably get bored at some point. But like I wouldn't miss taking care of the rats. I wouldn't miss going through here every day and cleaning up shit. Like
Right.
it's just. I mean, it's not. It's what I'd want to do for a career if I had to pick a career. But if I didn't have to pick a career and I had hundreds of millions of dollars, I wouldn't be working anywhere. I'd
Right.
enjoy the rest of my life.
There's other countries you can go to and live for like way less and way better of a lifestyle too for nothing, And you're
That's
like,
what
holy
I actually
shit.
just said that to my wife the other day. I said, if we just sold everything we had and moved to Indonesia, I said we'd be like royalty. It's beautiful there. Like we'd just be royalty. Fuck all this stuff.
Right.
These are like what is
Yeah.
it, like the Dominican Republic is definitely cheap. Cuba's definitely
Philippines.
cheap.
The
Colombia.
Philippines is cheap.
Colombia's cheap. Like you can literally go like Colombia, what?
Costa Rica.
Like with 50K.
Yeah, but you
and,
go
like,
to
have a
Colombia, you got to
mansion
worry
and
about like
great.
the whatever the people down there. What's it called? The cartel. Nope.
The
Try to
cartel.
recruiting your kids.
Well,
Hey,
don't
the
go
bright
over
side
there
is
acting like
Pablo
a big
Escobar
shot.
days are done.
Done, yeah. Like don't
So
go.
that's good.
They're all growing avocados now, so you ain't gotta worry about that shit.
If you're in there, look, I love an avocado. Take me.
But no, and they like don't go there looking like big shot like John Gotti, and they just go there.
Actually, they grow more avocados here in the States than they do there, by the way.
I believe that too. I definitely believe that.
Oh, shit. So if your best holdback that you made got out, how far are you going to find it? Are you like ripping walls out, like going through the ceiling? Like, how far are you going to find that snake?
Yeah, I mean, I'm ripping apart the basement. I mean, luckily, I'm in the basement, so these walls are all cinder block. There's like, obviously it could get out of the room. But yeah, I mean, I'm tearing stuff apart. I actually did that. So let me think, probably 3 years ago, it was the first time my family, half my family's in Florida. They came up for Christmas, and I took out a tub. I think it was like a clutch that it was in the summer. I don't remember. I took out a tub that had 4 snakes in it. They had just had their first shed, and I was showing off like, oh, look how cool these babies are. I don't know what the hell I was doing, but I left the tub out on the table in here, and I left. And I came back the next day, and I saw it sitting there. I was like, oh my God. And at that point, they were like the coolest snakes I ever made. I was like, shit. I spent like 2-3 hours scouring every part of the basement, and I could not find them. And they were just hatchlings, right? So I set up like heat traps all over the basement. I put like a heater, and I'd put a hide just out in the middle of the floor.
Right.
And one of the snakes, I just found it crawling across the floor one day. Every other single one of those snakes was in one of those heat traps.
Heck yeah.
So if you lose snakes in your snake room, make a heat trap. It seems to work. They find the hide right by the hot spot. They go to it, and that's where they sit. So that's what I learned from that. I had one other snake. I actually had a pair of snakes that were breeding, and I guess they were too big in there, or they were making too much friction. They actually moved the tub open in the process of breeding, and they both got out. But the other thing I learned from that is they usually don't go far. They're usually in the rack somewhere, like up and down, or I found them by the rat racks, and they were hiding in the rat racks because they smelled those.
All right.
So it helps if you get rats in the same room too.
We just got it on, and now we want some grub.
Yeah.
I lost one the other day. It took me like a good 2 hours to find it. He got out. He popped. It's weird though because it's only one drawer that does it. If I don't stick like something underneath it, like a matchbook, they could push it out. And I forgot to put something underneath of it, just going through cleaning, being careless. And next day, sure shit, it was cracked, and he was out. And I don't know how long of a time he had, but he was underneath the bed, right there by the racks. He didn't go far.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, they don't move too far unless you lose them for a couple days, and then God only knows where they can go. But yeah, usually if it's within 24 hours, the ones that I had to get out didn't really go very far.
I had one get out probably. Let me see, what was that? Probably about 6 months ago, and I didn't recognize he was out until the dog is like, jumping around underneath my daughter's bed, playing with it because he was barking and stuff, like trying to play with it. And I looked under there, I was like, Franco, what the fuck are you doing out? I didn't even know he was out. I mean,
In the new chew toy.
it couldn't have been no more than a day and a half because I like check my mails every other day, 2, 3, 4 times a week. So he couldn't have been out more than a day and a half, 2 days, but he made it over to my daughter's room.
Yeah.
Okay.
It happened.
Rob said you losing some rats. Did you lose rats?
Yes, I still have a rat. It's on the loose, and I almost caught this thing 3 times. The other night on the live, like it usually walks right here. I got a rat bend right here because I'm trying to catch it and throw it in because it'll walk this path right here when I'm out. But like while I'm on a live, and I forgot all about this, and I didn't like say anything because someone was talking and I didn't want to interrupt them. But I'm sitting here in the rats, like just walking, and I'm like this, getting ready to go down to it and like concentrate on it to grab it. Like only thing I had to do is like move down and squeeze. And then my freaking cat comes from left field and charges it and chased it away. I was like, oh my God, I almost had it. It was right there. And then it was DJ's live the other night when we was on air, like when he got a couple pickups or whatever. It came through, and I went down to grab its tail, and I missed its tail by like an inch. I was like, "You bitch!"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's no pet people here. But I bought these on Amazon. I think you put like D batteries in them up top. It's dirty as hell, just on the floor, and they walk into it and get zapped.
Yep.
So I put them because I have the rat racks in here in the snake room in my basement. It's not in a shed. I have these lining the whole perimeter of the room because 9 times out of 10 they're walking around the perimeter of the room.
What's up, Don?
So I have these and they zap them. I mean, they kill them basically instantly. So it's not like it's like a prolonged death like using a mouse trap or something.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that's what I use in
Well,
here.
I bought one of them huge rat traps, and it took it. It like totally took the rat trap. It's gone.
Yeah,
I bought it.
I've had full grown rats go into those and it zaps them immediately. There's no turning back. Once they hit that plate in the back, they're done. So
Yeah, it's a full grown rat. That thing's probably like this long. It's like an extra large rat. But I was trying to keep it just now because you know what I mean. It survived this long. I forgot. I'm a little slow tonight. But it survived this long. I was trying to keep it, but now, I'm gonna have to buy something to kill it.
They'll chew everything up. I had an ASF get loose in here one time.
Well, that's an ASF. Them little things are bastards.
Well, they are. But I've had rats do it too, and they'll chew anything they come across. I had one of them ruin all the
It's huge.
All the thermostats and everything because it chewed all the wires through it, all the probe cables. So anytime a rodent gets out, I'm immediately like I drop everything else I'm doing. I'm making sure the bins are closed, and I'm tracking it down because I can't afford to have them chewing through all that crap.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
It's like DEFCON 5.
He stays in my kitchen. He don't go back and where the snakes are. I think he senses that's a bad room for him. He don't want to go in there.
I breed my rodents in another room, so I have my ASFs and mice in another room, and then I have all my snakes in another room as well. So.
And we also have so many cats and dogs.
Yeah, ASF wouldn't last 10 minutes with all my 4 cats around here. And I got some crazy ass cats that'll catch birds, whatever. They'll bring them all to me. So they ain't lasting long in here. John, what are you breeding? Are you breeding just ASFs or are you doing Norwegian too? Mice? What all do you breed for?
I'm doing everything. All 3 of them.
All 3 of them? Sweet. See, mice are stinky, huh? I fucking hate the mice, bro. They fucking stank.
See, everybody always says that. I don't think they do stink. My only issue with the mice is that when they die, I have a harder time finding them because the other mice seem to bury them, and I can't find the body right away. I can smell that something died, but I can't find it. That's my only issue with them. When an ASF dies, they seem to get eaten right away.
Right. They get
So,
eaten right
and
away,
I never have Norwegians die. I mean, I couldn't tell you the last one of them died, but there's, I'm not somebody who's like, I need to do one or the other. I use mice for the hatchlings.
Yep.
95% of my hatchlings take mice immediately. And they're almost adult sized mice. And as soon as adult sized mice are too big for the babies, I usually switch them up to ASFs.
That's how I do it.
And then as soon as they're big enough to take decent size or like small rats, I switch them to rats. And then I have the black axanthic females that I have. I couldn't get them to eat anything when I got them from Freedom Breeder, and they wouldn't eat anything. And until I started getting ASFs in here this past year. So like I have some snakes that are adults that only take ASFs. I have some that I have like one adult male that only takes mice. Most of my grow outs are on ASFs at this point because I just don't produce enough rats to do that. And I kind of scaled back rat production. I try to feed frozen rats when I can just because they're bigger meals.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I look at it like if this snake only wants to eat this one thing, then it's going to eat that one thing. I don't want to starve it because I'm being stubborn and trying to get to eat something else. Like if it wants to eat an ASF, eat an ASF. I have one holdback that won't eat ASFs. She only eats rats. Like she's the one stubborn one. She's like, nope, I'm just taking rats. That's it. Won't touch mice. Won't touch ASFs. Just wants a rat.
Well, at least she's taking rats.
I had 3 that would
Oh
only
yeah, I'm happy
mice
about that.
that I got from a breeder that only fed mice. So that's why I got into breeding mice because I had 3 that would only eat mice. So it's like, fuck that. I'm not going to pay for them. I'm going to breed them, So I started breeding them. Well, of course, last week I threw a mice in each bin. They all hit it.
No, you threw an ASF.
Well, yeah, I threw a mice first. And
okay.
then they all picked up their head. And when they picked up their head, when I lifted up the bin like an hour later, I was like, I looked at her. I was like, I'm going to try an ASF for each one. I threw an ASF in each bin. They all hit it. I was like, I might could get out of breeding these mice now. Like I ain't got no more stuff on mine.
But probably not still.
Yeah,
And you gotta break these stinky fuckers.
I'm probably gonna keep running them though, regardless. So, but
well, what I found with the picky ones is if you getting them eating consistently, where they're eating every week for you or whatever, you can usually trick them into eating something different eventually.
Right.
Because they're just in the habit. Once they're in the habit of eating something, they don't seem to be as picky. But the biggest issue I have with snakes is when I buy things that are adults or close to being adults, subadults. Those are the ones that usually give me trouble with feeding. Like they don't want to eat anything other than what they had been eating. Whereas if you're buying hatchlings are usually pretty easy to switch over to whatever you want to feed them.
Right. Right.
But I'm basically always going to probably produce all 3 types of rodents because I still have snakes that want one or the other. I'm not gonna fight it.
Yeah, it's convenient. You get it from somebody else. You don't know what they're feeding. You don't know what that snake is used to. So you have all 3. You don't have to worry about anything. You're good. Yeah. You're just like, okay, I'll try this one. Doesn't work. I'll try this one. Just go through process of elimination, basically.
That's what I've done over the winter with the hatchlings that I'm getting ready to set out. I made sure they took mice. I made sure they took ASFs, and I made sure they took rat. Awesome. They didn't turn up and down. So when they go out the door, they might not eat that first week, but that second week, it should go right back on a cycle.
And people, I don't know how. I mean, I've been breeding rodents basically the whole time I've kept snakes, so I don't know how people don't breed their own rodents.
I don't because I get a super sweet kill. Just to be honest, I don't breed my rodents because it don't pay me to. I get them for $2 a piece, any size I want. The dude hooks me up, and it's worth it to me not to breed rodents.
But so the problem is that person going to be reliable forever? And that's the issue that I kept running into. Is I was not able to get a reliable supply of healthy rodents, and then
I think he is.
And it took I didn't get ASFs until this year. I couldn't find them until I found the right breed because let's face it, I mean, even a lot of snake breeders are bad at advertising themselves, but at least in Pittsburgh, the rodent breeders are shit, complete shit at getting their name out there. And I happened to talk to somebody else from Pittsburgh, and I said, "Do you know somebody that breeds rodents or ASFs?" And he gave me a name, and that was the guy I got my ASF colonies from. But I couldn't find ASFs until this year. I've been doing this since 2019. So, and the people I was getting rats from, I would go and get 50 to 100 at a time, and maybe 20-30% of them were sick, sneezing and emaciated and thin and they sick looking. I'm like, I don't want to be feeding this crap. I don't want to be giving them my money,
Right.
and I don't want to be feeding those my snakes either.
Overusing that bloodline is what they're almost doing. They need to throw something different, throw another bloodline in there with them and keep all that shit from
Well,
happening.
I think they're overcrowded. They're just, it's a farm. They're breeding rodents and they don't give a shit about them. Like I clean my rodents every week and I make sure they have food and I make sure they have water and I make sure they're not overcrowded. And, I care about the animals. I mean, I know they're getting fed off, but, I don't treat them like shit.
Right.
And I try to make sure they're healthy because I'm putting them in these snakes that, are going to be making me money.
The guy I get them from, he has a fairly large collection, and he breeds extra rats because he says it's extra money. And, if people get snakes from him, he wants to make sure the local people have a rat dealership as well. And I mean, from breeding my own ASFs, because that's what I started off doing, breeding my own ASFs, and getting his product, like, I don't know, my snakes just went bloop. They tripled in size, like, within 3 months. And, one made breeding season last year. I mean, I bought it November 12th at, like, 350 grams. And she was laying, and I had her babies out of her before November 12th of the next year. October 15th, I cut her eggs. And it was once a week feeding, and I got I got his stuff close to the time that I got that one. It was like 2 or 3 weeks afterwards. I started talking to Chris, and his product's just good.
I wish I was able to. I had the space for it, or wanted to do it to breed rodents, because I think most people in most areas can make an absolute killing doing it. If you figure out the science behind it, what the right ratios are and what proteins to feed them, and if you're able to get that science down and make it really efficient, I could make an absolute killing doing it here if I had the space for it and wanted to do it. Because it's Pittsburgh's a big city, but it's not a big city, and I don't again, the people here don't advertise well. Like you couldn't find these people if you wanted to.
So I got what, like, the Freedom Breeder. I got like the Freedom Breeder 10, 20, 15, and I did all ASFs. I did like 2 colonies that are mice, and a lot of my ASFs, like Wiz was like, bro, up your ratio. So I'm doing now like a 2 to 18 ratio in almost every bin. And today and yesterday was like the first day I walked in there, and like all the colonies are pumping. It was not a bin I opened, and it wasn't like fucking almost spaghetti noodles.
I bet you could.
And I'm like, see, this is how I want it. Like, this is gonna show me something here in the next couple of months. And I've already like sold to a couple of friends that come by and whatnot and seen a good little, like, here you want 4, you want 3, you want 2. Okay, I got you a little extra. Here you go. But it's already like, it's kind of cool to see that, like, all right, I could see some good money in this. I could see already a good little fluctuation. Like I heard the other day, I was like, I almost want to buy another rack already. I'm almost ready to buy. Like, if I get one more of these racks, I be killing it. And I'll just run a fucking filter to the ceiling, run a fan in here, and just call it a fucking day. And here we go. This is the whole rat room right here,
Right.
So
I also love how healthy ours are. I mean, they just are. Every bin you pull open, even the mice, like, their coats look good. I mean, they're healthy. They look happy. I mean, that to me is most important. I'm definitely more of like the animal lover. So even if they're getting fed off, I mean, like you said, it's like, do you want to give them like, a steak that's been sitting there that's freezer burned forever? Or do you want to give them like a fresh fillet? Like, what do you want to give them?
Quality in, quality out.
I keep them on Missouri, but also like every other day they're getting like a grain, oats, mealworms / like beetles and everything else on top of that for a high protein. So I keep them, but it sucks because not spoil them so much. So when I don't spoil them, you can see they're in their bins acting out.
Yeah.
They literally are like going crazy.
It's like a fine line. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to keep on it once you spoil them because they're used to that. Of course, I want to change from Missouri too because I've been hearing a couple other brands out there that's working a little bit better. So I want to maybe swap out and try to change something else different. I don't know yet, but
So I made a video about breeding, and so what ratio do I keep ASFs in? I've been kind of experimenting on what to do them at. I typically I have some of the smaller bins, and it's a Freedom Breeder rack. I don't know if they're 40 series bins. I don't know what size it is. It's like they're medium sized bins. And I usually try to do one male to like 3 or 4 females in there because they get overcrowded very fast if they're having bigger litters. But I also have the 70 series ARS tubs, and that's sort of like a free for all. And it ends up just being like once all the ones from the smaller tubs are bred, I kind of mix colonies together and throw them in the 70 series to grow out. And I just kind of leave it as a free for all. And, you know, as they get overcrowded, I move them out. But the ones I'm paying attention to, it's usually like 1 to 3 or 1 to 4 in the smaller tubs. Mice.
That's what I was running before was like a 1 to 3, 1 to 4, and then smaller bins. But now once I got like the 10, 20, 15, it's like way wider bins. So and like way deeper. So like even when I taught Wiz was like, bro, run 2 to 18. And I mean, I'm having no fighting problems. They're just not every female's in rotation in there. They're just going together. And it's kind of crazy. Like I was doing what you're doing, and I was kind of sketched like up in the ratio. But once I did, it's kind of like, wow, this is actually not a bad idea. This is kind of working great, you know. So I don't know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to watch the difference. So, like you said, it's cool.
No, people have different. I've talked to people, you know, about what to feed them, and you know, obviously Missouri's the number one thing. I found Kalmbach, if you know what that is. And so for me, I couldn't find Missouri. None of the feed stores here kept it. It was expensive to order online, so I found Kalmbach, and it was like an hour away, but it ended up being $20 a bag for a 50-pound bag. But then I was talking to somebody else, and they said they don't even feed them, you know, rodent feed anymore. They just feed them combinations of hog feed, goat feed, black oil sunflower seeds. They mix in table scraps when they can, and they actually don't feed anymore. Is what I'm feeding. Not sure. Yeah. I used Kalmbach. I used Missouri for like a year or two, and then I used Kalmbach for a year or two. And then when this person told me that they don't feed at all, I actually started trying that. So I go to Tractor Supply, and I buy in bulk. And that's what I did at the end of the year when I was talking earlier. I spent like $1,000 on my Tractor Supply credit card. You know, I got the 0% financing for 12 months on it, and I bought it was a shit ton of food. And so my garage has just bags and bags and bags of food. And that it seems to be working okay. It sucks because you can't use the hoppers for the food because they're all like smaller pellets.
Right. You got to pour it in the corner.
Right. Yeah, so that sucks. But other than that, I mean, it seems to be working well. Everything's growing, and so it's cheaper that way too. I mean, those bags of food, like 50-pound bags, you know, the goat food, the hog feed, it's like $16, $17. And if you order 20 bags, there's usually a 5% discount on it too.
So using the multi-grain and not I use the multi-grain and not the chicken scratch.
No, you do the scratch grains.
Scratch grains. I use the scratch grains and not the chicken scratch is what I do. When I go in there, I'll get the scratch grains, mix that with black sunflower seed. Then I get a big bag of oats, throw oats, and like I said, the black flour larva and all that too, you know. And I found at Costco you could buy a big, was it like a 5-pound bag of oats for like fucking $5. So like if you have a Costco and you go to Costco, you can get like the real, like I mean a huge ass bag. You go to grocery store or wherever else to get oats, and it's like $8 to $10. Like it's cheap as fuck at Costco. So if you have Costco around you, like the oats are
or any like big store like that, BJ's or Sam's.
But it's cool, like you're talking about the goat and hog mix, because now I'm gonna go get me some goat and hog mix, and I'm gonna try this out.
Yeah, we also do the Tractor Supply, the scratch grains, and we put it in a big brute trash can. And we just mix it so it's like you know, the biggest one, and it's in there, so we have a big scoop and we just scoop it out. But that would be really cool to incorporate that too.
Yeah.
I know when I had my SF colonies and I threw in the black sunflower seeds to their diet, like everything picked up.
Oh
Like
yeah,
what they started producing picked up instantly. So that black sunflower seed does kind of help them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Somebody asked, is black sunflower seeds the small ones? I don't know what the size, but they're like it'll literally say black oil sunflower seeds on
Yep.
the bags for whatever they are.
Yep.
there you go.
Yep.
It's typically sold, I think, for bird food.
Yeah,
Usually
I
there'll
was
be
gonna say, I
birds
think
in the
they
bags.
are kind of
There you go,
small.
man.
You can get it
Yeah.
at Tractor Supply.
That's
You
what
can
it's
buy it
gonna
at
be, right?
Walmart. You can buy it at
Yeah. That's the stuff
Ace
I have right there.
Hardware. You can buy it at a regular. If you got a regular feed store by you, John, you could probably buy the feed that you're buying probably even cheaper than you're getting it at Tractor Supply.
There are no feed stores. That's the weird thing. I couldn't find any around me. But so with Tractor Supply, those black oil sunflower seeds, the bag that Justin just showed, they had them on sale right around Christmas, and they were like $15 a bag for those 40-pound bags. And then I bought 20 of them, so plus the 5% off. So it's just like try to buy in bulk when you're feeding your rodents, buy in bulk, and that's what I did. So I bought. I don't know if you guys buy frozen or if you have specific brands you like, but during I think it was after Black Friday. I think it was in December. ARS has really good prices with their frozen stuff, but they were doing a sale on frozen too. So you stock up on frozen through them. It's all about buy it in bulk. It's cheaper that way if you can.
Mhm. Facts.
You got to hit to save money when you're doing this. You got to save money wherever you can, to maximize your profits. Go bring it back full circle to the whole, finances thing. Like these snakes, when you buy a snake for $5,000 or for $4,000 or for $2,000, the value of that snake's going to drop by the time you're actually able to breed it. So by the time
Exactly.
you breed it, maybe you get your money back on that snake, and hopefully you're able to make some more money off of that. But you can't be losing money between point A and point B. So when you're feeding all the rodents and you're feeding the snakes, you got to try to make sure that you're not, bleeding money left and right. So
Yeah,
look
stop
things
bleeding
like buying
somewhere.
in bulk. Yeah, you got to cut your costs down when you can, and it can't be on the things that are important. So doing it instead of paying $40 a bag from Missouri, do it a little smarter and buy the other animal feeds and save yourself a shit ton of money.
See, it's crazy because we get Missouri over here. What am I paying? $23 a bag, I believe, is what I got it at right now for a 50-pound. But I also got a guy that owns a pet shop that buys bulk. That kind of likes me. He's like, as long as I buy a bunch of bags off of him, he'll kind of help me out right now, But like I said, I want to try something different. I definitely want to try because there's also another one that's at Gut Health Solutions or whatever. And there's I saw actually some on what was that? Chewy.
On Chewy.
Yeah, and it has.
It might be the one that he's talking about, the Cumbot or whatever.
No, not the column block, but there's another brand now that has that gut solution stuff in it too as well. That's a pretty big company that was down here that was popular.
What up, DJ?
But now I guess there's another company that has that company shit in it. So I've been like, okay, let me see if I can maybe get my hands on that. But I just saw it pop up on Chewy not that long ago. See if I can pull it up actually.
The issue I had
Gut
with
Solutions is actually out of Ocala.
Yeah, but there's another company now that I guess is they're sponsoring that company, Stan, and they have their shit in their food pretty much. So when you look at it, it'll tell you.
So all the Gut Solution is, so that we're all aware here, it's just all organic ingredients. There's no additives. There's no fillers whatsoever. It's just organic ingredients that's ground up and put in the pellets. I've talked to the people who produced it. I've bought it. I've used it. It works good. Again, problem if you don't have that extra snacks and treats for them, you're gonna have males eating the babies, or it's good. I'm not gonna say it, but the Gut Solution, the part of it is it helps them digest their food a lot more. When their urine comes out, it isn't as potent. It breaks down their urine smell, so it breaks down the ammonia in their urine. It does work, and I've used it. The only thing is, it only comes in a 40-pound bag, not a 50-pound bag. But they said that it feeds a 40-pound bag feeds just like a 50-pound bag would.
It will eventually.
Mhm.
I also
Hey,
like to throw in like the
there's a new
fruit
one,
rind
man.
and the vegetable
It's called-
rind that I got.
Yeah, OGS.
It's called Advantage Health Foods, but you see it has the OGS in it. So I
Yeah,
guess OGS sponsored this company now and is allowing them to have their shit in it, and they're going to be the ones that are producing the big rodent bag of
Well,
food.
that's because OGS tried to get into Chewy, but they couldn't. So they went through that company, and that's how they got into Chewy.
Got into Chewy. Okay.
They were
So,
trying
but
to get into Chewy back when they were in Daytona, and that was 2 years ago.
But now they're in it, and it's only right now if you get a 40-pound bag, they're at $34. But I could say it was a lot cheaper like a couple weeks ago when I saw it. But I wouldn't buy it for that. No way possible. I wouldn't buy it for that. But it was just something cool to see something different, and they're getting themselves out there. Like you said, now they're able to work their way into Chewy, doing a different route. So it's kind of cool.
But and I had an issue, and the reason I switched off of Kalmbach was I bought I bought a pallet of it, and I had it sitting in my garage, and we had it next to an old fridge, that we keep food and drinks in outside in the garage, and they were packed with grain mites.
Oh wow.
They completely encased everything in the back half of my garage, like to the point where we had to basically throw everything out in the fridge. I had to take all those bags of food and throw them out back outside. I had to buy a separate shed specifically to put these bags of food in. They were all over my dog's food, which we were keeping in there as well. And somebody, Craig from Bash Coder, he breeds. He contacted me, said I had the same exact issue. He took a picture of it, same exact thing. And I mean, this was last summer. But after that, I was like, I spent like $1,000 on all this food, and I have literally an infestation of grain mites, and I couldn't get rid of them. And so then they were all over I couldn't get rid of the food. I couldn't get rid of the food. I couldn't afford to get rid of it. And so they were all over my rat racks until recently. It looks like they finally all died off. And I've been done with those bags of food for quite a few months. But yeah, I mean, after that happened, I was like, well, I'm done with Kalmbach because obviously there's no quality control there in their facility.
I think I'm gonna try
had
you
them
out, though.
on.
You got some goat food and hog feed, so I might try the. Now, is there certain like goat feed and hog feed that you're using, or is it like just that's the normal brand of what it is when I walk into the Tractor Supply and just tell them, or what?
Let me
I can hit
look.
you on your DMs later too, John.
Yeah, I can. I can show. I can DM me and I can show you what I get. It's they're
So
40,
this is
50
what-
pound bags.
Hell yeah.
I had those grain mites, and this is what I got, and this stuff killed them instantly. This is a
Diatomaceous
diatomaceous earth.
Yeah, diatomaceous earth. Yeah.
This killed it instantly, like took them right away. It's just like a ground up seashell. And
Yeah.
you got to get the food grade stuff because I guess the other grade that they make, I'm not sure what it is, but if it gets in your lungs, it could cause like some kind of infection. But the food grade stuff is,
Well,
okay.
diatomaceous earth is supposed to be food grade right off a rip. That's why it's got the label on the front. It's
Yeah, but they
edible.
do make one that's
They make
not a
not
food
food
grade
grade.
if you look into it.
They do make it.
Well,
Because
some
they
of it-
use
they
that
use-
on a lot, so they use that on crop dust in a lot of fields because
They-
insects are soft-bodied, and usually pesticides they walk through it like it's getting a shower. So that when they come through and crop dust it, it comes down and it actually cuts their soft skin, and actually that's how it winds up killing them because it actually puts slices in them and they can't breathe then. So they die off. That's what that stuff is really, really used for. It's a big, they use it in a lot of plants and in greenhouses. That's big to get rid of small, soft-bodied insects because
Works like a
insects usually
charm.
don't live on the top of stuff. They live on the bottom. And if you ever notice, like when mites start out, they never start out at the top. They always start out at the bottom of the snake.
Yeah.
Well, mites on a plant do the same thing. They start out at the bottom of the leaves and work their way around to the top. So when you spray it, it doesn't do anything. It just runs past it. And that stuff is like a powder, so it goes everywhere. It kills
Yeah,
them.
it
So
was
yes,
everywhere
that
from the
stuff
house for
will.
about 3
I mean, if
days.
you take that and just go like that in the air, if they're on the wall and you just throw it in the air like powder, whatever is on the wall, insects will die.
Yep,
That's how good that stuff is.
it works pretty damn good. I mean,
It's a hell of a grower's thing, by the way. That's how I know about it. By the way, sorry for the rant.
cool.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if the stuff that's non-food grade. I know my grandfather used to use that in the pool, for I don't know what it was for. I never understood what he was putting the chemicals in there, but he used to buy it at the pool store to diatomaceous earth. So I don't know.
Yep.
Maybe that's the stuff that's not food grade.
Well, my mom's used it for her cat. She's like done something like to get rid of worms and stuff on her cats too. Use like the food grade version, but then she also like will get the non-food grade and put it around her house because she's all like natural freak. My mom is, so she like uses that all around the house and everything too for the bugs. But then she has a natural food grade one that she will actually like sprinkle on the cat's food and it will get rid of like some of the belly worms, et cetera, too. So kind of trips me out. I'm like, what? And she's like, you need to go home and sprinkle this on your cat's food. I'm like, my cats are fine. They go to the vet. It's like, no, I'm telling you, just listen to me. I'm like, all right, mom, whatever.
So I sprinkle this in my yard to help with the fleas because I'm like right out in the woods and we have fleas really bad. So I take it out and sprinkle it in my yard along with the bug spray. And last year we was pretty low on fleas. We didn't have many of them. There
I'll have to keep that in mind because the dogs always, will it work on ticks?
we go. I guess. I mean, I can't say 100% because they still have ticks, but it just seemed to take them away. Like, not as many. There's only like 2 or 3 last year. Not every time they walk out the door.
Let's say Stan told me about
collars work the
those
best.
collars. There's actually some like really like the dog collars.
Yeah, them salon pot colors are
had
one that
stepped
starts
up
with
their
an S.
game.
Maybe not salon pot. That's a
They've
pat.
stepped up their game throughout the years for sure. Like those dog collars now are like you're like, holy shit, these are actually doing their job.
You pay $50 for them, but they work. We usually
they
spend 1 year.
They last 8 months. So,
Well, Blue chews his up. He usually goes for 2. Blue likes to eat them for some reason. My dog, he eats flea collars. He'll chew the one off the cat. He'll chew the one off himself. He just freaking eats them. So
There's also an Australian website. I can get you guys a website, but my mom gets all the flea medicine from. But it takes like 2 weeks to get imported over here. But like the price compared to in the States is like a quarter of the price compared to what it's here. So she'll get all the same flea medicine shit that I'll get at my vet for like nothing. I'm like, Mom, what? She's like, I'll order you some, and then she'll get a bunch. But like I said, it's just doesn't happen overnight because it's getting imported all the way from Australia. So it takes like a couple weeks to get it. But the price is like completely different. And you can just go on there. You don't have to have your vet records and all that. You just order what the hell you want, get it shipped to you, and there you go.
I did use it on my dog because the vet said you could like dust your dog with it. But man, it dried his skin out so bad. We battled that dry skin for like a year. We finally got it back to right. And I ain't putting them through that again. I mean, I'll dust the yard and stuff with it, but I ain't dusting him. He itched like hell for a year straight.
We had fleas one time with our dog, and it was such a disaster. Like, we don't ever want to go through it ever again. But if it kills him in the house, spreading that stuff around, I guess that would work too, right?
Yeah, that's what I did. I spread it around the house and let it sit for a day, and then I vacuum it up, and it contains it. It don't let it get crazy because that one year, like the first year, all of a sudden we started getting fleas really, really fucking bad. I mean, it was terrible. And I was like, well, I can't bomb the house because of the snakes. What am I going to do with the snakes?
Yeah.
And so I forget what breeder told me about this stuff, and it's been a miracle. Like it does pretty good.
Yeah, I might have to just go buy some to have it handy.
Yeah, I mean, it kills bugs. That's what I could say. It kills bugs. I put it in my yard. I put it in my house. The house, of course, I sweep it up. I don't let it sit there. But the yard, it just goes into the dirt. But yeah, it kills bugs, for sure.
Cool.
Well, hell, we're at about an hour and a half. We usually stay at about an hour, and you said you're an early bird, so we're going to go ahead and about end this show now. Anything else you want to throw out there? It's your time to do it.
Just check me out on every social media platform known to man. I'm Snake Limited, SNKE LTD on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Where else? I don't know. anything, anything
Anywhere.
that is social media, I have it. So just check me out there. My website's also snakelimited.com. There's links on there to all my social media platforms, my Morph Market store. Cool stuff all the time.
Right.
Awesome.
And don't forget about your boy. Wait, where's that? I can't get it right. I can't turn my head that way. Over there. That way. Steve. From a Reptile I Am. I was trying to point to this too, but I just can't do this pointing stuff backwards.
It's hard.
This one. Over here. Right here. And up that way. Out here.
Stan
Steve
has
from the Reptile I Am. He's just like kind of riding along with me here.
Stan has it.
Yeah. What Stan did. Do it, Stan. I can't get it right. I'm pointing wrong. But yeah, you know who he is. He's your boy. Go follow him if you're not. Justin Alexander, you got anything to say?
No, I was gonna say it's a pretty great show, man. It was nice meeting you, John, for sure. I'm
Become a
looking
member
forward to
today.
seeing
Don't
definitely-
forget.
Yeah. Oh
Right there,
Yeah,
USR.
yes, you guys too.
1,000%. Y'all better come. Y'all better come member today. You ain't a member. What are you doing? You're slacking. What are you doing?
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Come on.
You heard?
Well, yeah,
Get
John.
the guys
I'm looking
next
Better
forward
be
week.
a US ARC member.
to seeing what you got coming out, man. I've been paying attention to you, man. You got some heat over there, bro. You got some good stuff. So